Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you another action-packed edition of our nation's sports show. Join us tonight as we recap Week 14 in the National Football League. In Week 14, some games were blown. There was total domination by one of the league's best defenses on one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. A lead that was nearly blown in the Mile High City. A playoff berth was clinched. We also bring to you our score predictions for Week 15's games and more. It's showtime.
From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Oh yeah, you know what time it is. Coast to coast and around the world, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for another edition of our Nation Sports Show right here on YouTube.com. And I am your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. And before we get to these fine, good-looking gentlemen with me here on screen with you tonight, we got to pay the bills, folks. First up on Twitter at ON_sports show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and on YouTube where we are live right now at YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And you can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And folks, this past weekend, some of the Nation's Corner crew was down there in San Antonio, Texas for Mission Pro Wrestling Silver Bells 2. And I am pretty sure this Saturday, front row, and everybody that will be on the Nation's Corner this Saturday night live on YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner is going to be talking about all of the festivities in San Antonio from this past weekend at Mission Pro. And if you haven't seen that show, it's a great show. Simon Miller and JP Harlow had a hell of a match. And then Genocide and Janai Kai had another great match against each other. And these two women tore the house down in San Antonio in front of all the fans that made it out there to Texas. And check out the Nation's Corner this Saturday live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And now that the quote-unquote bills are paid, let's get on with the show, everybody. And introducing first here on the show, joining me tonight, he is a Washington Commanders fan, and his Washington team is in a prime good time position to be in the playoffs. Did I just say playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? The Panthers won't sniff a game in the postseason. Who am I kidding? He is a Washington fan. He's not Justin Timberlake, but ladies, he is JT, Joey Thornton. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing Tuesday. Or should I say Taco Tuesday, even though it is quite cold out there, depending on where you are. But it's great to be here, ready to talk some football. It was kind of a boring week last week, but with NFL protocol, we got to talk about it. So let's get it on, baby.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but certainly not least, he is the head man that has been a fan of this team for years and years and years. He is the leader of what we call as fans, Bang Bang Niner Gang, baby. As his San Francisco 49ers and my San Francisco 49ers absolutely destroyed Tom Brady and the Buccaneers 35-7 on Sunday. K-Rod, Kevin Roy, what's going on, pal?
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, we just had a slay of goat Sunday, but that's all fine and dandy. I hope everybody's doing good out there. And yeah, it's pretty cold.
Bang,
but
Niner game.
You know who else is cold? Who else isn't cold? Tom Brady,
Ooh.
because he got hit that many times. So he's warmed up by our defensive line by now.
Absolutely.
Let's get it on.
Let's get it on with this one, fellas. And where do we start with this? Oh, yeah. Thursday night football. The Las Vegas Raiders, for the fourth time. Oh, Lord is right, folks. The Las Vegas Raiders, for a fourth time, leading 13 or more points, blew the entire game against, of all teams, the Super Bowl hungover champions, Los Angeles Rams, led by not Matthew Stafford, but Baker Mayfield, fresh out of the Carolinas, 48 hours after getting off of a flight into Los Angeles. Baker Mayfield comes in the second series of the Rams offense and slowly but surely, methodically, somehow leads the Rams to a 17-16 victory over the Raiders. And yet the Raiders were up 16-3. Mind you, the same score on Monday night last week by the Saints and the Bucs. And the Bucs won by the same score, 17-16. But Thursday, if you thought that the Saints blowing that game against Brady and the Bucs was ugly, this was even worse because the Rams had no business in being in this game. And you guys know this. I mean, we all talked about this last week, fellas, and I know we can all agree upon this, is that there was no reason why the Vegas Raiders should have not, lost that game to Baker Mayfield and the Rams, because Mayfield was just going to his new team in Los Angeles, and there was no way they should have lost that game. But in typical Raiders fashion, they blew the game. And I want to start with you, Kevin, on this game, because this was absolutely just insane how Mayfield leads the Rams to a game-winning drive.
Yeah, this is everybody on that coaching staff for the Raiders should be fired immediately. Not just Josh McDaniels, their defensive coordinator. Okay, I can at least say this about the Saints and the Bucs. Tom Brady just played good at the end. He came through. The Rams, I get the Greg Williams defensive coordinator vibes with the Raiders, because remember that game that the Jets lost 2 years ago on a Hail Mary because they threw an all-out blitz on a Hail Mary at the end of the game? Yeah, it's that kind of situation. Like, Baker wasn't doing nothing the whole game until about 4 or 5 minutes left in the third. The Raiders just quit playing zone, and all they played was man coverage, and they were getting roasted. And I'm like, if it's not working, why continue to do it? And then in the end of the game is where I really was bombfounded, because you're playing man coverage while you're just trying to prevent touchdowns. That's not going to work. You need to play zone, and you need to play back. And this defensive coordinator is a complete bozo. I don't understand how they have all this talent, offensive player of the year candidate, and Josh Jacobs, and you still find a way to blow your fourth double-digit lead of the year, because you can't finish games. Derek Carr looks horrible. Devontae Adams looks like he doesn't even want to be there. And Josh McDaniel says, oh, we got a good running back. Let's just stop giving him the football. How about that? And that's all a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at the games that the Vegas Raiders have won or lost, it's honestly became, because of the fact that Josh Jacobs is not getting the rock and Derek Carr is not spreading the ball to his other receivers instead of focusing on his favorite college buddy, teammate, and Devontae Adams. And you mean to tell me that Devontae Adams had 2 remarkable catches in that first half against that Rams defense? And he had 4 catches in the first half. And in the second half, he was held to 0 catches. 0. Absolutely no catches in that second half. And I blame a lot. I blame Josh McDaniels. I blame that defensive coordinator. I blame their offensive coordinator. I blame the entire coaching staff like you do, Kev. And Jelly, I want to get your thoughts on this game, because honestly, Mayfield should have not had a single chance to get a victory in this game against the Raiders. The Raiders just shot themselves in the foot.
Well, as far as that game is concerned, I could just sum it up with 4 little letters. Y-A-W-N, yawn. Because that's what this game was. This was a yawn of a game. I mean, Baker Mayfield, who literally sat on a couch for who knows how many weeks because he wasn't a starting quarterback for a one Carolina Panthers, while P.J. Walker and even a coming back from injury Sam Darnold was trying to do what they could, but nonetheless, Baker Mayfield he just doesn't have it anymore. I don't think he's had it in for years now. Even when he was in Cleveland. Yeah, coming into the season he had, I think it was like 94 touchdowns and 56 interceptions, but come on. I mean, Baker Mayfield is not a leader. He is an absolute bust of a quarterback. Not as big as a Jamarcus Russell or Johnny Manziel, but I digress. But, yeah. The fact that Baker Mayfield couldn't get anything going until late in the third quarter speaks volumes for not only the Rams, but for the entire organization as well. Because they've spent all their hard-earned money. They spent all their hard-earned money that they got last year by winning the Super Bowl into trying to boost this team up and everything, but it hasn't worked out very well, has it? Because you got your best quarterback down for the rest of the season. You got your star wide receiver out for pretty much the rest of the season. You got a hothead who doesn't even have a job right now because he's too busy running his mouth. And most importantly, you got a coach that, well, he may have looked strong to begin with, but he hasn't looked good past few weeks. Actually, he hasn't really looked good this whole season. I mean, the Rams, this Super Bowl hangover is really hitting them hard.
Very hard.
It is hitting them very hard. And keep in mind that Aaron Donald, their star defensive player, didn't even play in the game because he was battling an ankle issue. So, it ain't like, and even when he's on the field, Aaron Donald doesn't seem to do much. So it's like, this Rams team needs help, but the Raiders, they need more help. Because Derek Carr is starting to look like the burglar from Marv from the first 2 Home Alone movies for right now.
Right?
I mean, Devontae Adams, like Kevin said, he doesn't even act like he wants to be there anymore. You got Josh McDaniels, who can have a good few weeks, but a little bit of time before he comes crashing back down to earth. And you got a star running back who, might I remind you guys, is in his contract year. So, yeah, he may have had a good game against Seattle a couple weeks ago with the over 200 yards rushing, including that 86-yard run in overtime. But this is his contract year. And how are you going to reward a running back who's playing in his contract year by not giving him the football? Come on, Josh Jacobs is the cornerstone of that Raiders offense, and he has been that way for quite some time now because Derek Carr, he certainly don't have it. And you got Devontae Adams, who is only as legitimate as whenever he's catching a ball, which, by the way, he only caught 3 balls for 71 yards in the game last week, which that certainly don't mean nothing. So, fine and dandy. Josh Jacobs is a cornerstone of that offensive production for the Raiders. And you're not going to give him the ball? McDaniels, just hang it up for the rest of the season, because at this rate, you've already been beaten by a quarterback who, first off, you got beat by a coach that only has high school experience who was sitting on the couch. And now you get beat by a quarterback who was nursing an injury sitting on the couch. Yeah, hang it up this season, McDaniels, because at this rate, the Raiders ain't going nowhere. And you know what? They might as well go ahead and sit out next year, too, because as long as McDaniels is in charge, yeah, they may have a few games here and there, but all in all, you ain't going anywhere.
Exactly. And this Raiders franchise is a complete disaster. And they've been a disaster since the 2022 season has started.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And I want to get you guys' thoughts as far as on Sunday's schedule. I'll start with you, Joey, as far as what were some games from before we do that, as far as this past week goes. I mean, like, one thing I want to talk about with this past Sunday schedule is the simple fact that when you look at the schedule from the games that happened, one thing is still for sure: Philadelphia is the front runner in the NFC. There's no way, not even close. Them and San Francisco, creeping behind them, and all these other teams. I mean, those are the only two teams that I would basically say are credible threats. The league is so wide open, and Sunday's schedule absolutely proved that. And with that being said, Joe, I want to get to you first for your thoughts for Week 14. What were some games that were significant to you that kind of caught your eye?
Well, even though this really wasn't an entertaining week going into the games on Sunday, it actually turned out to be pretty interesting because there were quite a few games that stood out to me. Excuse me. First off, I mean, the game between the Bills and the Jets. Quentin Williams might have gotten injured, the best defensive player on the Jets other than Sauce Gardner. But even when he was off the field, the Bills' offense kind of struggled a little bit. Yeah, they walked away with the W, but 20-12? I mean, that's kind of a little too close for the Jets, especially since Mike White left the game, came back, left again, came back again, and then left one more time.
Can I just say real quick, Joey, that Mike White is an absolute stud. To be getting pounded, to get pounded like he did against that Bills defense and kept getting up and coming back for more. Any mortal man would have said, you know what? I'm hurting. I'm injured. I'm going to live to fight another day, and nurse my injuries. No, Mike White stood in that game and said, bring it on, boys, and he all things considered, he had a chance to get the Jets, a victory possibly, but give credit to that Buffalo defense, man. I mean, they played the lights out in that game.
They did. And I'll tell you one thing though, if that same quarterback that kept coming back was Zach Wilson, he would have been done after the first series. He'd been like, nope, I ain't going back in there. I'm just going to keep getting drilled. I'm just going to surf online and find me some Cougars. So you guys have fun. But another game that stood out to me is finally, after almost 2.5 to almost 3 years, Mr. Joe Burrow finally finds a way to beat those Cleveland Browns. And they did it in dominating fashion too, winning 23-10. Yeah, Joe Burrow may not have looked all the way sharp in that game, especially since T. Higgins got knocked out first drive of the game with that hamstring problem.
Mm-hmm.
But he was able to put throws where they needed him to go, and he was able to put plays on the ball.
Yep.
And of course, Samaje Perine, he just continues to motor down that Cincinnati run game. Oh gosh, I don't even know if I want to talk about this next game.
Oh boy.
You know what? I'm going to. The fact the fact that the second best team in the NFC East struggles with a team that has won only one game this year. Yes, folks, I'm talking about the Dallas Cowturds struggling against the Houston Texans? What in the... No. I know that there's a certain someone who is a big Dallas fan who usually tunes in to watch the show. Yes, I'm talking about Mr. Big T, Tony Justice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But come on, man. If your team struggles with the one-win Texans, oh gosh, I don't even know what to say to that. Oh man, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I mean, yeah, they were able to luck out with a W, but they were trailing for a good bit in that game, and it would have been a lot worse. Actually, if the Texans would have scored on that one drive when they were, I think it was like first down from the Dallas 4-yard line, or from the Dallas 4-yard line, and they couldn't score. If they would have scored a touchdown on that drive, the Texans would have walked out with a W. So Dallas, y'all need to buckle down because it ain't going to get easier from here because y'all got a road game this week. Y'all got the Commanders coming up last game of the season. And I think they got the Eagles coming up too later on in the season.
Yes, they do.
So,
Philadelphia and Dallas will be on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Dallas needs to buckle up and buckle down because that defense, you take away Micah Parsons, that defense is dead. Micah Parsons is the only player that is revitalizing that Dallas defense. But speaking of revitalizing, Detroit, they are looking really good as of late. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, including an 11-point drubbing at home Sunday against Minnesota. Minnesota, the second best team in the NFC. Notice I said the NFC, not the NFC East, but the whole NFC. The Vikings, oh man. The Lions, they looked really good in that game. And we finally got to see Mr. Jameson Williams take the field for Detroit. And what does he do? Oh, yeah. How about on his first catch, he goes for 41 yards and a touchdown?
Yep.
So
and then Goff followed that up with a 48-yarder. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Like Goff he has gained his confidence in this system. Detroit's playing great football, and they have nothing to be ashamed of right now, guys. I mean, they are vying for a playoff spot, and they could get it. And honestly, if the Lions find themselves into the playoffs, this is one team I don't want to play.
No, especially with the way that Dan Campbell has been working with those boys, because Dan Campbell has been a locker room leader since day one, and the Lions are finally starting to get on the better side of things. And as far as the Vikings are concerned, like I said in the pre-show, the only player on the Vikings that I can take seriously is Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettis. He's the only player that I can take seriously. Because Kirk Cousins, nah. He can be serious at him. He can be serious when he wants to be, but as far as being consistent with it, no, he doesn't have it. And Dalvin Cook, maybe. It just depends on what kind of condition he's in. Let's see. Going down, the Eagles blowing out the Giants. No surprise there. Jaguars look sharp against the Titans. Mahomes, even though they walked away with the W, defense kind of struggled a little bit with Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. The absolute yawn of a game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, with both starting quarterbacks getting knocked out. But
with concussions.
Baltimore's still walking away with the dub. Let's see. The Panthers knocking the Seahawks out of the playoff picture for right now with a 6-point win, but Oh, you gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
A game in which Tom Brady gets his butt absolutely smacked by that nasty, terrifying San Francisco defense. Oh man, you gotta love it.
Gotta love it.
Um,
Gotta love it. And speaking of gotta love it, I know Kevin's gotta love that. And I know that's got to be a significant game for him, with his San Francisco 49ers absolutely plummeting the Buccaneers to destruction on Sunday, 35-7.
yeah, and Sunday night, Tua once again struggled. Once again. And it kind of cost him because, well, they walked out of LA without a win because the Chargers were able to do just enough to get the win at home. And then last night, you gotta hate it for Kyler Murray. So I think Arizona might want to go in and hang up this season because the way Colt McCoy looked last night against that Patriots defense, he looked awful.
He looked terrible.
Absolutely awful. So now that Kyler Murray can go play his video games for the rest of the season,
Yep.
You might as well just go ahead and hang it up Arizona and Cliff Kingsbury because you may have made it to the playoffs last year, but you ain't going nowhere near it this year.
Nowhere.
But that's my outlook.
Absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, a lot of games this week was pretty cool. I like you said, the Minnesota game, you can't trust them. I do not trust them when it comes down to the playoffs. They're liable to be a one and done team, to be honest, because outside of Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what Kirk you're going to get. You never know what Dalvin Cook you're going to get. You never know what defense you're going to get. Minnesota's defense this year has played good, and then they played awful. And come to the Detroit Lions, they played awful. This defense couldn't stop a soul. They couldn't stop the left tackle from catching a pass out the backfield. I mean, good God.
Absolutely terrible. Could not cover nothing to save their lives in this game.
Not nothing. And the Bengals finally getting a win on the Cleveland Browns didn't shock me because Deshaun Watson, he don't have it anymore. 2 years of not playing football, it's not. It don't look good for the Browns. I believe if they would have put Jacoby Brissett in, it might would have been a better game. But I still think Cincinnati would have won. But the main, let's see, what other games do we got here?
The Chiefs and the Broncos.
Oh boy, yeah, the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Broncos actually. They tried. The Broncos actually showed some life, and as much as I hate on Russell Wilson led that comeback by himself, like running the ball. I gotta say it. I gotta give him kudos. As much as I talk about Broncos country, let's ride to another L. I still gotta give them kudos. They played the Chiefs pretty tough, man. But I want to point to one play Mahomes made to Jerick McKinnon early in the game. Woo! He's the Steph Curry of the NFL. He basically throwing Kareem hook shots from a quarterback position. He's running and he just hook shots it over his head, just chunks it up, and boom, McKinnon's right there. Takes it all the way down for a touchdown.
58 yards.
Ridiculous. I seen that happen on Red Zone. I said, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, there's no way this guy should make plays like that, but he does. And
he's a freakish athlete. I mean, and he just keeps.
And the Bills, one thing I took from that game is, I hate to say it, but the Bills' location, it hurts their own offense. Because when you're playing in a cold condition, like it ain't like Kansas City. Kansas City's in a warmer climate state where it's better conditions, better temperatures. Buffalo's in cold-ass New York. And, I mean, cold temperatures really affect the quarterback and receivers in the offense. If you told me that the Buffalo Bills go to Kansas City, I'd say Buffalo wins. But if you tell me Buffalo has to play someone in New York, I'm going to say, it's going to be a close game because of that climate factor, and that the weather conditions. It's hard to play in the cold and it's hard to play in the snow as a quarterback. And that game, that was a good game. And the Cowboys, oh my God.
I knew this was coming.
Here we go. Like Stephen A. Smith said, I'm going to let them have their shine for the last 5 weeks. They're rolling. We them boys. We got the best quarterback. We got CeeDee Lamb. He can CD ball this time. We got Zeke Elliott. We got Tony Pollard. We got Micah Parsons, who somehow Dallas has still got the best defense, even though every statistic across the board shows the 49ers are better than them on defense, but I digress. The Cowboys want to say they're the best defense, but you give up over 20 to the Texans? I mean, we're not talking about the fucking Eagles. We're talking about the Texans. We're not talking about the Niners. We're not talking about the Vikings. We're talking about the one-win Texans who tied the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. I mean, Dallas stinks, and they're getting so close to struggling to where they're going to do like last year in wild card round, poop, bounce out of the playoffs. And it's funny because I can really see them getting bounced in the first round, as bad as it seems. And you might call me crazy because, yes, they'll play the NFC South winner, which is first team to win 6 games is going to win that division, it seems like. But you know what? I can still see Dallas choking in that game. And it's funny. Dallas, when Dak throws picks, the whole team stinks. Literally. They can't move the ball. They can't run the ball. Tony Pollard deserves way more touches than he gets. It's almost disrespectful that Zeke is still running in and out of that Salvation Army pot week in and week out and still getting carries. And I don't know, man. It's just something ain't right about Dallas. When you put Dallas against physical football come January against a team like a defensive front like the Philadelphia Eagles or the San Francisco 49ers, I'm picking the top 2 right there. Maybe they can beat Minnesota because of how weird Minnesota plays, but I'm not picking them over the Niners or the Eagles. No way in hell I'm not picking the Cowboys. That was god-awful.
God-awful.
Steven, your favorite team, as much as I shit on the Carolina Panthers, they done my boy a huge favor because let's be honest.
Favorite team.
It was a nice Cinderella story, boo-hoo, ha-ha, hee-hee, and yada, yada, yada. Geno Smith has finally come down back to earth, as well as the Seattle Sea Chickens offense. You couldn't move the ball on the Panthers defense. Don't get me wrong. The Panthers actually have a solid defense. I will give them that. But your defense, all I heard in the middle of the season was, this defense can move the ball. This defense is playing better. And then the last 2 weeks, Seattle gives up a bunch of yards to the Rams. The bum Rams, by the way. The Seattle Sea Chickens give up all them yards to Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman. And I'm like, are you serious? You're giving up all these yards. I said, okay, you're going to play a team like the 49ers who licking their chops at running the football, and you're going to get run all over. Seattle, it was a good story while it lasted, but their playoffs hopes, I think they're just about shot because winning the NFC West is a tall task for them, but a wild card, if they keep losing, hell, if they lose to the 49ers this week, that's already the NFC West they lost. Then you're talking about a wild card where Washington's done won like 5 out of 6, then Detroit's done won 5 out of 6. And then you're just like, how are you going to contend with them teams that are hot right now? When you're not hot, you're losing.
Exactly.
I think Seattle's playoffs chances are done. I will say Pete Carroll's done one hell of a job with that team to this point, but at certain points, the talent factor and playoff football take over, and they just don't have enough talent on defense. And the game I love, we slayed a goat. A goat got slayed Sunday in the Bay. That was
bang bang Niner gang, baby.
Tom Brady came back on the Saints. Everybody, Tom Brady's rejuvenated. The Bucs are rejuvenated just to get put down 35-0 through 3 quarters. So, yeah. Yep. We're going to come back. You're not coming back down 35 to the number 1 defense in football. I'm sorry. It's not happening, and it didn't happen. Not even close.
Speaking of not happening, shout outs to Brian Cervantes in the chat here on the show. And Brian, the one thing I will agree with you on your comments here, brother, is the fact that yes, your Houston Astros could well be back-to-back World Series champions, but your Houston Texans, bro, they're not going to win a Super Bowl, bro. They're not. All due respect, they're not winning a Super Bowl.
Although I wish they would have beat the fucking Cowboys.
Although we wish they would have beaten Dallas.
They would have made some amusing TV with Stephen
and the
A.
Rockets
Smith on First Take this week.
They ain't winning an NBA championship either. All due respect. But
I
the
tell you
Astros, yes. World Series, baby.
I tell you what was pretty impressive, though. Watching this game, I had not my doubts, but I had my questions about Brock Purdy for the Niners. I'm like, okay, this is your third string quarterback. Although he's plays like a veteran because he spent 4 years at Iowa State, a Power 5 school that's produced with teammates with Breece Hall, also, by the way, the phenomenal rookie from New York. He has played with him. He has played with a lot of other talent, and Iowa State's always a pretty solid team. So I said, you know what, he might be pretty good. And the way the guy carries his swagger, like he's always hyped and stuff, you wouldn't think he's a third-string quarterback. You would think he's a first-string quarterback that's balling. And he proved himself. He came out there, and let's just not act like the Bucs defense is bad now. Come on now. The Bucs were number 3 in the league last year in defense, and they're top 10 this year. And they brought the pressure on Brock Purdy. And what does he do? Boom. A 30-yard strike to Christian McCaffrey on the go route. Boom. Brandon Ayuk on a double move. Boom. He was 9 of 10 when they brought the blitz and all got first downs. That's pretty impressive for a 7th round, 262nd pick in the draft. And I hate to say it, outside of Justin Fields, and I know it's early, but I'm going to go ahead and call it. This draft? Okay, out of this draft. He is the best quarterback in the draft. He's better than Kenny Pickett. He was better than Matt Corral. He was better than Malik Willis. Brock Purdy's the best pick in the draft, and he was a 7th round pick for crying out loud. He came in and shredded the Bucs defense. And that's the thing about this Niners team. You're not asking your quarterback to go out like Jalen Hurts and throw for 400 and rush for 100. You're asking Brock Purdy just to make the plays, just make the right decision. They come off the edge on this side, get the ball to your fullback, get the ball to your running back, get it out to Kittle, pick up the blitz, make it a mental game. That's all they're asking Brock Purdy, and he's pretty much excelled. So if you ask me today, can this team get to the Super Bowl with a third string quarterback? I would say yes. 2017 Philadelphia Eagles is what it looks like with Nick Foles. It looks like that kind of situation. All you're asking with the team around you is to play defense, run the ball, and keep Brock Purdy upright. That's all they're asking him to do. And they're doing a good job. So I think this team, especially with the good news on Debo, 49ers are the second best team in the NFC, right up there with Philadelphia. And like I said, I'm calling it now. Philadelphia 49ers NFC throwdown with these defenses. Going to be one hell of a show, I promise you. But yeah, that nightcap game though, Tua at one point, here's the only thing I got to say about this. Tua was 3 for 17 at one point in the third quarter. 3 for 17. What? I'm confused as to why they are struggling, but you know what? I think teams are starting to watch film and get a hand on Tua, and Tua's looking like he don't know what to do. That's just it. Tyreek Hill, you cover him up deep. Now Tua don't know where to go with the football. But that was a pretty interesting stat. And Justin Herbert's better than Tua. I don't care. It's been argued all over Twitter this week, and I'm going to put an end to it. Justin Herbert is better than Tua. Justin Herbert's playing with a bunch of damn third-string receivers out there and still throwing for 300. Tua's got 2 of the fastest receivers in the world, and he out there gets almost shut out by the Niners, then almost shut out by the Chargers. So I'm sorry. Justin Herbert's a better quarterback at this point of his career. But, yeah, and then the Monday night, what a trash game. Kyler Murray gets to play more Call of Duty because he tears his ACL. I mean, prayers for him to get better. But, I mean, this Arizona team, just like the Los Angeles Rams, they are in a bad position front office-wise. You got Hopkins, but that's all you got. You let Chandler Jones walk. You think J.J. Watt's going to rejuvenate his career, which it's not. You don't have a quarterback other than Kyler, and he wasn't all that good. James Conner can't stay healthy. The Cardinals are in a world of trouble, and that brings to my question, who's going to be in the basement for the next 4 to 5 years? Is it the Cardinals or the Rams? That's a good question.
That's an absolutely great question.
That's a great question.
And just running down the box score here real quick, from this past week 14, you had the Rams beating the Raiders 17-16. On Sunday, you had the Ravens beating the Steelers 16-14 in one ugly game. And then you had the Bengals beating the Browns, getting Joe Cool's first victory over the Cleveland Browns 23-10. You also had the Jets losing to the Bills 20-12. Also in week 14, somehow that we talked about this game briefly, the Cowboys survived the Texans 27-23. Somehow, I don't know how that happened. Anyways, the Giants absolutely got destroyed by Philadelphia 48-22. And also in week 14, Jacksonville absolutely smothered the Tennessee Titans. And real quick, talk about that game real quick. The Tennessee Titans are not the same team they have been in the last 5 to 6 weeks. Because one thing teams have been proving the last 3 weeks, guys, is that if you can stop that battering badass ram of Derrick Henry and hold him in check, you can beat the Tennessee Titans. Their defense isn't playing good, and Jacksonville exploited them, beating them on Sunday. I believe it was 37-22. Yes, 37-22.
Yeah,
And
I will say though, real quick, before you go on, Steven, Derrick Henry actually had him a pretty good game because I was looking at his stat line and he had 17 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown.
he did have a pretty good game.
But here's the conflict of that. Derrick Henry did all that mostly in the first half. Like when I was looking at it, he had 109 yards rushing at halftime. I thought he was going to break for 200 something. He had 109 at halftime. Only ends up with 121. So the Jaguars adjusted. Shout out to them. Doug Peterson's a good coach. I mean, he's a good coach. And he adjusted. They stopped Derrick Henry in the second half, and Jacksonville just absolutely smothered them.
And plus, Tennessee had 4 turnovers in that game compared to a Zip-O-La for Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm. And Trevor Lawrence had a hell of a game, considering with a toe injury.
He did.
Had a good game.
30 of 42 for 368 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Mm-hmm.
What a great game.
Great game. And also moving down the line, you had the Chiefs surviving the Broncos 34-28. The Panthers beat the Sea Chickens 30-24.
Let's go Panthers.
Thank you, Panthers, for doing that. And speaking of thank you to San Francisco for smothering the Buccaneers 35-7 during that game. And then Miami losing to the Los Angeles Chargers 23-17. And then obviously Monday night last night, the Cardinals losing to the Patriots 27-13. And the Patriots in that second half pitched a second half shutout on the Cardinals. And obviously, like we broke on the show here today, that Kyler Murray is officially out with a torn ACL. His season is done, but it's not over. His video game days, those are just beginning. And folks, before we continue, again, folks, follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at @ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. Also, like and subscribe to this YouTube page where we are live right now on the show for all of y'all at youtube.com/Nation Sports Show. Also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And catch the Nation's Corner live this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time as the guys talk about Mission Pro Wrestling Silver Bells 2 from this past weekend in San Antonio, Texas. That was a great show down there in Texas. And also talking about the wild week in professional wrestling this Saturday, the Nation's Corner, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And guys, if you are ready, we are going to move on.
Hang on, Steven.
Go ahead.
There's something I want to bring up real quick before we go into the score predictions for next week over this upcoming week. I do want to point out something real quick. The sports world woke up to some really somber news this morning.
Yes, we did.
With the sudden passing of Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach.
Mm-hmm.
He had a massive heart attack, and he had some complications with his heart, and I guess it was just time for him to go.
Yeah.
He tragically, unexpectedly passed away last night due to the complications from his heart, and I know that it is hard to lose a family member at any point, but it is especially hard to lose a family member here around the holiday season. So my thoughts, my prayers, my condolences go out to his wife, his kids, his grandkids, every single professional athlete, every single coach that he has touched over the years. Rest in peace to the one, only living legend, Mike Leach.
Yes. Just very, very sad. And folks, that's what we keep saying on this show. Tell your family, tell your friends, your loved ones, the ones that you care about, how much they mean to you, because you never know when your number will be called. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Mike Leach's family, for the sudden loss of him, and very, very sad, especially during this time of the year with the holidays coming up, with Christmas coming up in almost a full week. Can you believe that, guys? Christmas, almost a full week away.
We are literally right at a week and a half away, and it is insane.
Absolutely crazy how 2022 has flown by. It has completely flown by. And just absolutely crazy how this year has just gone by. Like, before you know it's going to be a brand new year, 2023. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I guess with that being said, folks, we are going to move on to our favorite segment of them all, our NFL regular season picks, this time for week 15. And folks, the NFL season is going by so fast. As soon as week 1 came in September, we all knew it's going to be fun, but it's going to be a quick ride. It's going to be a ride, for a lifetime. And it's also going to be a ride that's going to go by really quick, because, before you know it, it's going to be week 18 and the season's going to be over. And just absolutely crazy. And before we get to this week's NFL Week 15 prediction on the scoreboard, Joey, I know you have some numbers to read off, brother.
Indeed, I do. It was a very, very close week last week, and it turned out we had not 1, not 2, but 3 winners this past week. Me, Mr. K-Rod, and someone who is not with us right now, and he might not come on tonight, but Mr. Randy Gyron.
Hey, Randy.
Hey!
Shout out, Randy. Good job, buddy.
All 3 of us went 8-5 last week, and Steven, you and Ezra went 7-6 last week.
Oh, our record is the same record as Seattle, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
You and Ezra are sea chickens.
So once again, I'm not saying the overall records up to this point, up until the last week of the regular season, but it's looking to be a dogfight right now. So
yes,
it'll be interesting to see what happens these last 4 weeks of the regular season.
Yep.
It will be interesting.
Yes, it is. And with that being said, folks, let's get to it, shall we?
Let's do it.
And with that being said, hey, for once, guys, we have a phenomenal Thursday night football game scheduled. We have the San Francisco 49ers, bang, bang Niner game, baby, going into the 12th man, Seattle, to take on those Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and even though Ezra is not here with us tonight, I will be reading off his scores because I have them right here.
Just in time with the scores.
Now, as far as Randy's scores, I don't know if he's going to come on later or if he's going to post the scores later, but as of right now, we're going to be missing 1 set of scores from Randy.
Okay. Yep. And with that being said,
we'll see when he posts them.
I will start this one out. I'm going to go with San Francisco to absolutely just take out Seattle. That defense is just so dominant. I think Seattle is going to go down at the hands of the Bang Bang Niner gang, baby. San Francisco 31, Seattle 14.
All right. Ezra's picking the Niners over the Sea Chickens, 27-13. See that?
Okay.
I'm gonna go. You know what? My score is gonna be almost similar to yours, Steven. Give me the 49ers 34-14.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a lower score because on short weeks it's hard for NFL teams to play. That's one of the reasons why Thursday night games are never good, because teams are still beat up from Sunday. I hate Thursday night football, so I don't think it's going to be a real offensive game. And with that being said, give me this defense to smother Geno like week 2 this year so far. Week 2 it was 27-7. And now week 15 Thursday night football, I'm going Niners 21-7.
Woo! Look at that score.
And they clinched the NFC West.
That's right. Because if San Francisco does win this game on Thursday night, they will officially clinch the NFC West.
Yep, that is correct. And moving on, we got a triple header this Saturday for once. Holiday season.
We do.
Yes, we do. And starting off that Saturday triple header schedule, it is the Indianapolis Colts going in to US Bank Stadium to take on the 10-3 Minnesota Vikings.
All right. Ezra has got the Vikings winning a close one over the Colts, 24-20.
Okay.
You know what? I think the Vikings are gonna rebound this week. Like I said during my review, the only player I can take seriously on Minnesota is Jay Jettis, but seeing as how they got an easy game this week, I'm gonna cut them a little bit of slack. I'm actually gonna go a low score here. I'm gonna go Minnesota on a game-winning field goal, 19-17.
Okay. Since we're keeping the tradition of the Vikings of giving close games to their fan base and giving their fans, heart attacks and stuff, and just driving them crazy, I'm going to go with the Vikings to win in an absolute close game. I'm going to go Minnesota 24-22.
Whoa! Look at that score.
Yeah, I'm going to break the spectrum then. I think this is going to be where the Vikings this is why they're so questionable. Last week they struggled. Now watch this week. They come out and look like the second coming of the greatest show on turf. So give me the Vikings 30-14.
Oh!
Wow. Outright. Here's this game. Second game of our triple header. It is the Baltimore Ravens going into the Dog Pound to take on the Cleveland Browns.
The shit show.
Yeah. Or as our very own Sam from Cleveland would say, a shit show, man.
You know what? I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna roll with the Ravens, even with Tyler Huntley, whoever. I don't give a damn. It doesn't matter. Deshaun Watson without the massages looks like fucking Johnny Manziel. So give me the Ravens in this. I'm going Ravens 20-13.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go to a similar score in a way. I'm going to go Baltimore 20-14.
You know what? I was actually thinking that same exact score. I'm going to take that same exact score, 20-14 Baltimore. And Ezra is going with the Ravens, or should I say the Baltimore Falcons, 28-21.
Ooh. Next on the docket, closing out Saturday's triple header, it is Tua Tagovailoa going into Buffalo to take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
And there's also a lot on the line in this game, because if Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills win this game, they will officially clinch the AFC East. So, with that being said, wow, Ezra's got a close score in this one. He's picking the Bills over the Fins, 34-31.
Woo!
That's very close, but
very close and very high.
my score is gonna go a little bit lower. Seeing as how the Bills have been struggling to get the offense going over the past couple of weeks, especially with them only scoring 20 points on the Jets this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Bills. I'm gonna go 27-17.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Buffalo in a close one. I'm gonna go Buffalo 24-21.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Buffalo, but the weather's calling for 10 inches of snow, so
Jesus.
it's gonna be an ugly game. I got Buffalo winning 20-12 on the Dolphins.
Same score as last week with the Jets. Wow.
They're used to that South Beach
All
weather.
right.
I can't imagine Tua playing in the 10-degree snow. I can't hear it. I can't even see that.
Especially since he's used to playing in the sunny skies from Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Snow might be his worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but we're moving on to the Sunday schedule now,
Yes,
boys.
sir. And kicking off, it is the 12-1, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Chicago Bears.
From Soldier Field in Chicago.
And I'm calling for a slaughtering. I'm calling for a massacre of the Chicago Bears. No offense, Ezra. Philadelphia is going to absolutely dominate the Bears in this one, 41-10.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure looking at Ezra's score, I bet that offense is none taken because he's got the Eagles in an absolute slaughter, 38-17.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
And you know what? I'm gonna go with an absolute. I'm gonna go with an absolute slaughter as well. Give me the Eagles 41-14.
Yeah, I'm going Philadelphia 34-16.
All right, moving on. Live from the Superdome, it's gonna be the
Falcons
from Hotlanta taking on them Aints from New Orleans, or should I say the Saints from New Orleans?
Yeah, they ain't all right. They ain't good. That's the first.
He said it, not me.
Yeah.
But Ezra's picking the Saints in a close one, 17-13.
I'm gonna go New Orleans.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Saints in this one as well. I think Desmond Ridder is still trying to get his feet wet because this will be only his second start on Sunday. So I think he's still trying to get his feet wet a little bit. So give me New Orleans in this one. I'm gonna go 17-15.
I'm gonna go New Orleans in a close one. I'm going to go the Saints 16-13.
Okay.
I'm going to go Atlanta. I'm going to go against the grain.
Okay.
Give me Atlanta 17-14.
Okay.
Okay. Next,
All right, moving on to the next one up in the Meadowlands of New York.
We got
the Motor City Detroit Lions and the New York Jets.
Yes, and with that being said, I'm going to start this one off. I got Detroit absolutely rolling yet again to another victory. I think Detroit is firing on all cylinders. I think they're going to keep up the scoring. I think they're going to score 35. And with that being said, it's going to be 35-20 over the Jets.
Okay. I'm going to follow suit with
Scratch
Detroit.
that. Sorry. 35-27 Detroit.
All right. I'm going to follow suit. I think Detroit's going to pick up another win and clinch ever so closer to that supposed playoff spot. So give me the Motor City Bad Boys in this one. I'm going to go 34-24.
Okay.
And Ezra is picking a very close one with this one. He's going the Lions 28-27.
Ooh.
And you know what? I'm gonna follow suit with Ezra, just a different score, because I mean, yeah, I'm hyped on Detroit, but let's not act like the Jets don't have the number 3 defense in football. So I think it's going to be a lower score. I'm going to go 21-20, the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Woo! Okay. Next, we have the Steelers taking on the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Let's see. Ezra is picking the Steelers in a blowout in this one. He's picking the Steelers 24-7.
Hold up. Time out. If Mitch Trubisky is the quarterback of this team, there ain't no way on God's green earth that the Pittsburgh Squealers are going to score 24 more points against any team, because Mitchell Trubisky is not the answer with Kenny Pickett being out with the concussion.
Well, you should have expected Ezra to pick that, seeing as Mitchell Trubisky's the Chicago Bear, former Hall of Fame. He thinks he's going to Chicago days and ball.
You know what? I'm actually going to go against Ezra here. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm actually picking the Panthers in this one. I think the Panthers are going to get the job done. I mean, they were able to get it done last week in Seattle, and I think they're going to do it here at home against the Pittsburgh Squealers. I think the Panthers, it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to go Panthers 20 over Pittsburgh 14.
You know what? I'm going to follow suit with Joey because, I mean, Pittsburgh lost to a fucking third-string quarterback in Baltimore after Tyler Huntley went out. I'm sorry, but the way Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Foreman's playing, they're going to run all over Pittsburgh, and Darnold's going to play solid like he did against Seattle. So give me Carolina in a close one. I'm going 18-10.
Damn, look at that score.
Wow. Whoa, look at that score.
I can't believe it. I'm following suit with y'all. Wow. Hell, it's definitely.
That's your team. You're supposed to go with us. You're supposed to go
hey, watch it, sir. Anyways, I'm picking my supposable team in the Panthers to beat the Steelers 19-14.
Okay. All right. Up next, we have the Dallas Cowboys going down to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and them Jaguars.
Oh.
Let's see. Ezra is picking the Cowboys to win this one, 28-23.
Wow.
And honestly, I like that score, but I'm not going to take it because I'm going to go 28-24 Dallas.
You know what? I like them scores. I like how close it is, but you know what? I'm going to go 30-27 Jacksonville. I'm picking Trevor Lawrence is going to eat Diggs and them boys alive like he did the Tennessee good pass rush. I think he's going to have a hell of a game.
All right.
It's a tough one. It's going to be a close one. I don't feel good about it because they are the Cowboys and they are a disaster waiting to happen, especially come playoff time. I don't feel good, but I'm going to go with Dallas. I'm going to go 30-27. Same score as Kevin, but opposite team.
You know what? I'm actually going to change my pick. I'm changing my pick to Jacksonville. I'm changing it. I liked what I saw out of Jacksonville this past week, and I think they might do it again this week. So I'm changing my pick to Jacksonville.
Okay.
All right. Up next, we have the last game in the 1 o'clock slot. We have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs going down to Houston to take on them 1-win Texans.
Oh boy.
And that 1-win Texan team's fixing to get another loss. Add that to our resume. They're fixing to be 1-12-1. And that's what I'm going to go with the Chiefs to absolutely destroy the Texans 30-7.
All right. Ezra is picking the Chiefs 33-14.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to follow suit with Ezra's score. Well, not really the score, but with who he's picking. I'm going to go Kansas City in this one. I'm going to go 30-7.
Yeah, I don't like what I seen from Kansas City's defense against Denver, but Kansas City's still going to be the 1-win team. Give me Kansas City 31-14.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
I think we are on the 4 o'clock schedule. We got the Cardinals going into the Mile High City to take on
them Broncos.
This is a tough one.
You know what? I'll start this one off. You know what? They're going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum to ride this week. Bronco country, let's ride to a win against that horrible offensive line Cardinals. Give me the Broncos defense winning this game. I'm going to go Broncos 17-7.
Okay. I'm going to top you, Kev, on this one. I do have the Broncos winning, but I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm going to go Denver 20-3.
Whoa. Okay. Ezra has gotten the Broncos winning 16-10. And I'm going to side with Denver also because Arizona is going to struggle mightily without Kyler Murray back there and having Colt McCoy as their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the Broncos in this one. I'm going to go... I'm going to go 16-12.
And you know what? Russell Wilson is going to say one thing and it's dark. It's dark humor, but Russell Wilson is going to say something to Kyler Murray that's going to offend him. And it's going to say, Bronco country, let's walk. Because Kyler Murray can't. With that Broncos country, let's walk. Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, man.
Let's take a ride to winning football for once in your damn season.
And they looked good last week against Kansas City. I mean, they had to
Russell Wilson looked good. He by himself, like I said, brought them back with his old, turning back the clock scrambling plays. And I really like what I seen. I hope he could keep
3 touchdowns in that game. He had a hell of a game against Kansas City.
Yeah, I hope he can keep it up, but I doubt it. The coaching staff is just horrible. The Broncos defense are the only thing Russell Wilson has working for him. His receivers suck.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy might be one of the biggest busts of a receiver I've ever seen. And Cortland Sutton too. I don't know what the hell happened to him. He just dropped the hell off. So
Yep. And moving on here on the 4 o'clock schedule, we got the Patriots going in to Sin City to take on Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, and our favorite head coach, Josh McDaniels, and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Thank God this game was flexed out of prime time.
Yes. The football gods have spoken.
So, yeah, Ezra is picking the Patriots over the Raiders 24-13. I'm going to follow suit, and I'm going to go 27-14 Patriots.
Man, this is tough.
It is.
I know I'm probably going to get a big bag of shit for this, but I'm going to pick the Raiders for once in my fucking life.
What?
Josh, looking at the Patriots injuries, they got a lot of injured players that might not play Sunday, including Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm going to actually think and predict they give Josh Jacobs the fucking football for once. And I think the Raiders are going to win. Give me the Raiders 20-17.
Okay.
I don't feel good about it, but hear me out. I had the Raiders in this game up 20-0. The Patriots are going to be the 5th team to come back and beat the Raiders 23-20 on a game-winning field goal.
Gosh.
I don't feel good about it because these two teams are up and down. I don't feel good. I'm going to go with the Patriots. Don't feel good. 20-20. That's right. Vegas, you're screwed again. 5th time.
Let's ride.
That's right. And with that being said, we're going to ride on. Get ourselves a one-way ticket to the next game, and that is the Tennessee Titans facing the Los Angeles Chargers.
This one is actually going to be a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go ahead and start off with Ezra's score. He's picking the Tidy Whiteys over the Bolts 23-17.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh man, this one is going to be tough because we don't know which Tennessee or Charger teams we're going to see.
It's tough. It's absolutely tough.
I don't feel good about it because both these teams have their issues, but I'm going to give the advantage to the home team. I'm going with the Chargers. It's going to be a very close game. It's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last. So give me the Chargers in this one on a game-winning touchdown and PAT 24-23.
Okay.
What's the game you said? Chargers Titans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the Chargers in this one in a route. Give me the Chargers 27-14.
Give me the Chargers.
Ooh.
I got the Chargers winning 28-16.
All right, moving on to the final 4 o'clock slot. We got Mr. Joe Cool and the Cincinnati Bengals going down to Raymond James Stadium to take on Mr. Tom Brady and then Tampa Bay Bucks.
Man, give me the Bengals to absolutely roll over the Buccaneers. Give me the Bengals 27 to 10.
All right. Ezra is picking the Bengals 31-21.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Bengals 31-14.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals too. I don't think they're going to completely annihilate the Bucs offense like the 49ers defense did, but
No.
I think the Bengals offense are going to do what the 49ers offense did too. So give me the similar score. I'm going Bengals 35-14 instead of 7.
Okay.
All right, so, and yes, the game that I am most looking forward to more than anything, the game that got flexed to Sunday Night Football this week.
For once.
The New York Football Giants taking on my Washington Commanders live from the D.C. area.
Man,
this is one game that I am definitely looking forward to.
Round 2.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be the night that the Commanders get their dub because I haven't heard much, but since we are coming off our bye week this past week, I believe that we are finally going to see the return of the one, the only, Mr. Chase Young to our defensive line. So with that being said, give me my Commanders in this one. It's going to be a absolute dogfight, but give me my Commanders. I'm going to go 27-20.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commodores because I don't. The Giants, just like the Sea Chickens, they're slowly falling right back down to earth, flat on their fucking faces. And Daniel Jones is starting to look like Carson Wentz. So I'm gonna go with the Commodores, 24-20.
Well, that pick was easy. Who does Ezra got?
Yeah, see, Ezra is actually picking the Giants to pull off the upset in Washington, 27-24.
Okay.
You might want to kick him off the show next week.
He could have been nicer. He could have picked another 20-20 tie. That
wouldn't that be something, y'all?
That would have been great.
That would have been something. That would be something if these two teams finish in another tie. And then that means
I hope we don't. My Lord, we need to get a dub, man.
Agree. A dub for either one, but especially, for you as a Washington fan, you want your Commanders to obviously win. But a win is a win, please, because, these ties, they absolutely suck.
And we've already seen 2 of them this year.
Mm-hmm. And how convenient, guys, that both of these ties were 20-20. Texans and Colts, and now Commanders and Giants.
Yeah.
Coincidence? I think not. And with that being said, I'm going to pick Washington to beat the Giants in a close one. I'm going to go 26-24.
Ooh, okay. All right, and to close out our games for the week, we got an absolute yawn.
Yeah. Yawn.
With Baker Mayfield and the Rams going into Lambeau to take on A-Rod and the Packers.
Only thing that makes any kind of Monday Night Football enjoyable with bad games is listening to Peyton Manning and Eli Manning on the Manning cast. Their show has completely obliterated ESPN's broadcast of it. How funny they are. And
especially with them rocking the big hats in the game, last night.
And they said Eli had his Giants hat on and and Peyton and Eli. Peyton said, I'm just doing good sponsoring. I said, Eli said, you ain't want to wear your Broncos hat? He said, no, I'm surprised your ass came on here wearing your damn Giants hat after what happened with the Eagles yesterday. Them two are hilarious. They're funny. Yeah, they make Monday Night Football worth it in some cases. And that's one of them cases. But yeah, I'm going Packers. I'm gonna go the cheese dicks and let me pick the Packers on here. Because Baker Mayfield, I don't trust you. I don't trust you, son. I'm going Packers.
You think you impress somebody by beating the Las
Packers
Vegas Raiders on Thursday Night Football?
Score 20-15.
Whoa!
Hey,
okay.
Ezra almost has your score. Only he's picking the Rams 20-18.
Oh, because Baker's the God sent angel to the fucking Rams, right?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the Packers in this one, but check out this score.
Okay.
16-15.
Jeez. Thank you for that score. Okay.
All right, now Chad Gable.
Shush, please.
They should make it more interesting. Put a headset on Peyton and Eli and let them be offensive and defensive coordinator against each other.
Oh, there you go.
That would make this game more interesting.
Speaking of, before I get my pick, speaking of the Manning brothers, they are going to be coaches for the NFC and the AFC during the Pro Bowl festivities in 2023 in Vegas.
Brought to you by Omaha Productions. Omaha!
Tonight's NFC AFC showdown is brought to you by Omaha Productions. Need to hurry? Call Omaha Productions. And with that being said, I'm going to pick the cheese curls. The Cleveland and Green Bay. Jesus Christ. What am I talking about? Anyways, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers, them cheese heads, to beat up on the second coming of the Los Angeles Rams. That'd be Baker Mayfield and the Rams. I'm gonna go Green Bay. I'm gonna go 27-14.
Yeah, y'all should have heard Peyton last night when the cutscene came back from commercial with Bill Belichick. He said, "Wow, Bill Belichick looks so excited to be here on national TV."
Too bad Bill wasn't on the Cincinnati.
Peyton and Eli are hilarious, man.
Oh yes. Those Manning casts are always a hoot and a blast. And again,
especially their guests they have on too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They had Adam Vinatieri on last week. Or on Monday.
Good stuff.
That'll wrap up our predictions for this week. And
our predictions were spread out this week again. Our picks were spread out again this week, which is awesome.
Yep.
So, yeah, folks, again, follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And also, don't forget to smash that subscribe button on YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now talking about the world of sports. And speaking of the world of sports, I do want to get back to the NFL real quick before we move on to other things real quick. And I do want to talk about this Dallas and Houston game from my perspective, because I cannot believe that the Dallas Cowboys absolutely single-handedly almost embarrassed themselves, almost lost to the one-win Houston Texans. And the one thing that really annoyed me with this game was the fact that the Texans, for one, were shuffling quarterbacks in and out of the lineup. I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? What are you doing this for? I mean, I know you're a one-win team, but stick with a quarterback. If a quarterback's not playing good, then yeah, change him. Why not? You got nothing else to lose. But quit changing quarterbacks. If you have a rhythm going, why mess up the rhythm? And also as well, on that final drive, when Dallas took the lead, Houston had back-to-back false starts on that final drive by the same player. So that should tell you something about that. Crazy.
That was quite an interesting game, and yet very, very laughable.
Very laughable. And when you look at the NFC and the AFC side for both conferences, it is wide open, and we still only have one playoff berth clinched in the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right. But come this week, we could see we could see two playoff tickets get punched this week. That being the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers, as they can win their respective games.
Absolutely, and I like San Francisco's chances.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Let's see how the Pro Bowl voting works this year, because I tell you what, Dre Greenlaw better be an All-Pro this season and better be voted in the Pro Bowl, because I was just glancing over his stats. Keep in mind, he's missed one game due to injury, one half due to injury, and one half due to suspension or ejection, and he already has 106 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, a defensive touchdown, and that's still 5 games to go. I mean, come on, man. Can we please fix the Pro Bowl voting? I guess it's the same goofs who claim Michael Parsons should be Defensive Player of the Year. They obviously don't look at the fucking film.
Yep.
Because Richard Sherman hit it on the head. He said, if the MVP is the best quarterback from the best team in football, why the hell can't Defensive Player of the Year be from the best defensive player on the best defensive team? Nick Bosa. Come on now. Michael Parsons over there giving up 20 to the fucking Texans.
Yep.
To the Texans.
Yeah.
While the Niners are out there making Nick Bosa's out there making 4th and goal sacks against New Orleans to clinch the shutout. But y'all want to give that
and they made Tom Brady look like an absolute fool this past week.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But the Cowboys defense are over there struggling with the Texans, while the 49ers just single-handedly forced 3 turnovers from the Bucs. God, you know what? It's got to be if Bosa don't win Defensive Player of the Year, we riot. I'm rioting. Nicholas John Bosa is Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care what nobody says. And Dre Greenlaw is an All-Pro linebacker this season too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just fix that.
Yep, and also as well, when you look at Week 14, I mean, and again going back to Buffalo and to the Jets, I mean, for the first half or so, no team could buy any points in this game. It was cold. It was raining. It was snowing, the wind, the rain, the snow, every factor you could when it comes to December football. And the Buffalo Bills somehow, some way did get points on the board to start off the scoring festivities. But then in the second half, both teams were scoring like it was nothing. I'm like, where did this come from? And Buffalo, just got to give them credit, man. You know, they got revenge on the Bills after the Bills beat them in that early on game this year. And the Bills are looking really good, you know, and also, we talked about this during the pre-show, but Cole Beasley is back with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's another weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry. I love Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks other than Joe Burrow and Mahomes and them guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't convince me that the Bills are favored over the Chiefs for the AFC best, like to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And preseason, yes, I picked them. I know I'm going to pull a Stephen A. Smith here. I picked them. But as the season goes on, Mahomes is on another level. I just and the Bills have had so many close games. I don't know, man. I don't see them taking the Chiefs, who've already been experienced, who's already been there, who's already done it, who's already won it, to come out of the AFC. Like, I feel like the Chiefs are clear-cut favorites to win the AFC. And to be honest, it sounds crazy. Don't crucify me. I love the Bills. I love their potential. But I would put Cincinnati up there at number 2, right above Buffalo. I think we could see a repeat Buffalo or Kansas City Cincinnati AFC title game. It would not shock me one bit.
It wouldn't surprise me either. It honestly wouldn't. And honestly, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Because in the regular season, yeah, it's always kind of shaky because you always got teams that can come out of nowhere to pull up complete surprises, and you can see domination from one or a few teams throughout the season. But it just seems like come playoff time, it just seems like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen always step up their games to certain particular levels, and they always find ways to get it done. So it would not surprise me if we see another Chiefs-Bills matchup in the AFC title game.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing you said, Kev, that's spot on when it comes to this Buffalo team. Sure, during the first start of the season, the Buffalo Bills on paper on offense, special teams, and defense had the complete package. And then as the season – go ahead.
But let me say one thing, Steven. Remember that first game we were so hyped about the Bills, rightfully so. The team they beat, the Rams, look fast forward 15 weeks later and tell me where the Rams are. Let me just say that. Mm-hmm. So basically Buffalo beat on a bad team that's down this year. So that if the Rams would have been good this year, that would have made that win impressive. But you fast forward weeks down the road and you're just like, they beat a bad team. Oh yeah, they beat the sorry Rams. Don't make that win don't look so glorified right now.
Nope. And that's the thing about this Buffalo team that scares me going down, in the postseason is, I mean, when you're the heavily favored, you have all the critics, all the so-called experts that know the game of football, that they're going to be singing your praises. And it would not surprise me if the Buffalo Bills crumble, because when you're the number one team, you got that monkey on your back. You have that pressure on your back. And Mahomes and the Chiefs, honestly, they have nothing to lose because they've already been there and done that. Mahomes has already won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 4 AFC championship games.
But here's the big but. This is where Mahomes stakes are higher. If they meet Cincinnati, it's going to be like the Rams and Niners last year, where they kept saying, well, the Rams can't beat the Niners. They own you. They're going to say that about Burrow. They're going to say, hey, Mahomes, you can't beat Burrow. You beat every other starter in the NFL. Can't beat Burrow. Mm-hmm. So a lot will be on the line for Mahomes at that point.
I agree with that statement, because when you look at the numbers, obviously since last November, Cincinnati is 3-0. Kansas City against everybody else, 21-2. 21-2.
See, that's incredible from Mahomes and them. But when I look at the NFC, I think, like we said in the pre-show, the 2 favorites should be Philadelphia and San Francisco, because you know what you're going to get. What wins in January football? Running the ball, playing defense. Minnesota can't run the ball, and they can't play defense no more. And Dallas, oh boy, you know how they're going to go. They're going to play when the stakes get to the highest point, and they're going to crash. And you know what? I love Jalen Hurts, and I love how he's played this year. Here's the thing. I don't know if I can trust him. He's got to prove me wrong. Playoff football is not regular season football. But why I say the Eagles is because they do 2 other things, and that's play defense and run the ball. If they can stick to that recipe, Jalen Hurts ain't going to be asked to do all that. So I can trust them, and I can trust the 49ers, even with a 3rd-string quarterback, because they play defense, they run the ball, and there have been several teams to make it to the Super Bowl with subpar to average quarterbacks. I'll give you a hint. Brad Johnson, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
I mean,
Trent Dilfer,
Baltimore Ravens. Like, come on now. They had all-time defenses. Philadelphia and San Francisco hang their hats on defense.
Yep. And when you look at again with the NFC side, I mean, Minnesota is 10-3, but they're the worst 10-3 team in football because their only one credible win is against the Buffalo Bills. And every other win basically has been close games. And their one significant loss was to the now 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles.
Which, by the way, they got their asses shredded
on Monday night.
Shredded.
I believe it was 24-7.
I hate Dallas, but the same shit happened. The Minnesota tried to come into Dallas, and Dallas shredded them the same way Philly did.
Yep, 40-3.
Minnesota. If you give me Minnesota versus Dallas versus Philly or versus San Francisco, they're liable to get embarrassed in that playoff game. I mean, you better hope to damn you playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or something.
But you know what, Kev? Let's just say, so we know how bad that loss was between Dallas and Minnesota. But what made that loss even worse was the fact that it was in Minnesota's building.
Oh boy.
That's what made it even worse. And poor CBS, they were like, the hell with this shit. We're turning away from the broadcast because, and that's the thing about Minnesota that scares me, guys. Is Minnesota going forward? I don't trust them. They have all the talent. I mean, Kevin O'Connell has been a hell of a head coach for Minnesota. And going forward, I don't trust Minnesota because Kirk Cousins, what quarterback are we going to be getting each week? We don't know. Dalvin Cook. When Dalvin Cook is focused and a hunter searching for his victims, Dalvin Cook is a hell of a running back. He can pound the ball. He's got the speed to do all of that, and to get an open space and to follow his blocks and score touchdowns. But he's had multiple weeks where he hasn't shown up. And Justin Jefferson, the guy is a stud. But only even the great JJ can do but so much. And their defense is very subpar, but I'm sorry. I don't trust the Vikings defense going into a big spot in the postseason. I don't trust them against Philadelphia. I don't trust them against Dallas, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Against Dallas, hell, how can I trust the Vikings when they got smashed 40-3 in their own building? I mean, the Vikings are the worst 10-3 football team right now in NFL history. On paper, they should be considered one of the heavy favorites to go to the Super Bowl next year, but we don't trust them. We're giving them the same treatment that we gave the Rams last year in the postseason. We don't trust Matt Stafford. Prove us wrong. And he did. Kirk Cousins. You have all the talent with you. Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. You just required the tight end from Detroit to be on your team.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that one. And Dalvin Cook, your star running back. You have all the weapons in the world on that offensive side of the ball. And you can only do but so much. Your defense has to also hold their end of the bargain. And their defense is not credible. I'm sorry. Honestly, and if we're talking again here about the NFC, as far as the wild card spot, if Detroit finds themselves into the playoffs, that is one team I don't want to face.
You're right. But you know what? I'll tell you what the problem is with Minnesota. And it's, again, when you build your team, you got to build brick by brick. Minnesota forgot to build a fucking offensive line. Their offensive line is awful. Their defensive line is just as bad. And because of that, their talent is going nowhere because you can't run the ball. And then you're forced to throw the ball, and you put Kirk Cousins in a forced to throw the ball situation. It's the same as putting Jimmy Garoppolo in a forced to throw the ball situation, and it's going to get ugly. No matter if you got Jay Jennings or if you got a bum off the street. If Minnesota wants to go somewhere, they better get right with their offensive line this offseason, because if not, they're going straight back down where they came from. And I mean, honestly, I could tell their offensive line was straight doo-doo because in the training camps, they had a scrimmage the joint practices with the 49ers, and hear me out. This was the funniest shit I read all day. In team drills, Nick Bosa had, count them up, not 1, not 2, but 7 sacks in one team period against the Vikings. That's their problem, and it still is their problem. They can't block no damn body.
Yep. Absolutely. And when you look at all the other divisions that are out there that are still up for grabs, like the AFC North, and I mean, the AFC North is so wide open between the Ravens and the Bengals. Honestly, it would not surprise me if Cincinnati takes that division yet again because of the injuries of Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Your backup quarterback, Tyler Huntley, is out with also a concussion as of this past Sunday as well against Pittsburgh. Now you got Anthony Brown as your quarterback. I don't trust Baltimore going forward. The only Anthony Brown that I know, right? Speaking of that, what the hell is up with that? I mean, the fact that this goof is, last we heard, was still in a standoff with the police.
Oh, what a clown.
What an absolute goof Antonio Brown is. Just turn yourself in, bro. Turn yourself in, man. And, man, the NFL season has been just going by so fast. And there's just so many stories, so many things going on. And just absolutely crazy. And I do want to get into the NBA for a little bit because, Kev, I know you got a bone to pick with this game. The Golden State Warriors absolutely annihilated the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and obviously some things don't change, and it's something that Steph Curry is the proud father of the Boston Celtics. That game was off the chain. Steph Curry was balling his ass off, and you know what? To watch how they did Jason Tatum, they are still they still live in Jason Tatum's mind rent free from the NBA Finals because he had a horrible game against the Warriors, and it's just, and you know what? That was without Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins did not play. It was Steph, Clay, and Poole starting in that backcourt, and what I love to see is Klay Thompson. The man has fought through devastating back-to-back career-jeopardizing injuries, and he came in to Boston with a vengeance. 35 points or 34 points and 8 threes. Wow, Klay Thompson lit it up. And then Steph Curry had 33, and that was vintage Splash Brothers. They are, I believe, 15, 16, and 0 all time when Steph and Clay have more than 30 each. That's pretty impressive. So to watch them what they did to the Celtics, they made them look horrible.
And see, and not only that, I mean, not only did Boston look awful in that game, but Boston sure as hell looked awful last night against the Clippers, losing by freaking 20. I mean, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they completely took the Celtics to school. I mean, the Celtics, they couldn't even score 50 points in either half last night. They were that bad.
Damn.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy. The NBA season is getting into high gear. Christmas coming up next week, and the game should be good next week for Christmas Day. And I'm trying to remember some of the games on Christmas Day. I know, Kev, I'm pretty sure you know these games.
I can't know them off the top of my tongue, but I know they're god awful. Someone said Santa hates America this year. He's giving us the crappiest games he could. I know one of them is the Rams and somebody.
No, that's right. Yeah, we got Christmas Eve games and Christmas Day NFL games as well. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Let me see. I can pull it up real quick. Give me just a second. Okay, we got at 12 o'clock, we got the 76ers against the Knicks. At 2:30, we have the LeBron James Lakers against Luka Doncic and the Mavs.
Wow.
At 5 o'clock, it's probably going to be one of the best games on Christmas Day. We got the Milwaukee Bucks going into Boston to take on the Celtics.
Ooh, that should be good.
At 8 o'clock, we have the Memphis Grizzlies going into Golden State to take on the Warriors. And then the nightcap at 10:30 is going to see the Phoenix Suns going into Denver to take on the Nuggets.
Pretty good. Pretty good. And also, we have 3 Christmas games from the National Football League. We have the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, my God.
The Denver Donkeys and the Los Angeles Rams. Yawn. And then here's your Sunday capper. You got an even more snooze fest. Why? Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Cardinals.
I think the football gods have punished the horrible teams and said, you know what? You're not going to be with your family on Christmas. You're forced to play on Christmas. Get to playing. Y'all are disgrace to football. Or the NBA paid off the NFL to damn show crappy dance.
Oh, my God. I mean, the sports gods honestly have not been nice to any of the primetime games for any NFL games.
Speaking of which, how about the nightcap game on Christmas Eve in the NFL? It's going to be the Raiders taking on the Steelers.
Oh, dear God. Oh.
Hey, just came off a 16-14 snooze fest. Now, come on, man. I guess they want the kids to go to bed early for Christmas. That's what it is. Santa put them bed early. Santa can come on and go and get
and keep in mind that you got the Commanders taking on the Niners at 4:05, and then you got the Eagles and the Cowboys at 4:30. Why couldn't you put one of them on the nightcap?
Why couldn't you put Philadelphia and Dallas on the nightcap? Jesus, help us all. Wow, come on, man. Like, the scheduling this year has been terrible. I mean, when there's been certain games that have been great that should have been flexed in, they were not.
In the words of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
who is booking this crap? Who's booking this crap?
That too, but then I see one that's on TikTok that says, The Rock, when he comes up to somebody, says, it's the biggest piece of dog shit. That's the NFL schedule. It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I will say though, we are going to have at least one more decent look at a decent primetime game later on in the season. Week 17 on Monday Night Football is going to be the Bills and the Bengals.
Ooh.
So that one might actually be a good one.
Yeah.
And
here's my problem.
That one could be a preview of an AFC title game.
Yeah, but week 17, if the Bills done wrapped it on up, I could see them resting their starters, not playing hard, ruining Monday night.
You got a point there.
Come on, Sean McVay, don't do us like that. Let them play.
Yep.
Well, it depends, because if Buffalo's close enough, I think they'll try to get that 1 seed from Kansas City, but it just depends on how the records fall in place by then. I know certain teams like the Niners and the Vikings and like the Eagles, after a certain point, they're just going to try to take it easy the rest of the season.
Yep. And can I just say real quick about college football that what annoys me is all these freaking bowl games. Like, do we need all these unnecessary bowl games combined?
Well, I mean, the bowl games are going to be a little cut starting next season with the college football playoff expanded to 12 teams.
Yep.
So, but I do think it is really nice, though, that Mississippi State is still going to play in their bowl game to honor Coach Mike Leach, because I know that's what Leach wanted his players to do. I know that he wanted them to play, regardless of whether he was going to coach or not. So I think it's awesome how they're going to honor him in this game by playing it for him.
Yeah,
whenever
absolutely.
They play Illinois after the new year.
And there's going to be a nice tribute for Mike Leach. I mean,
oh yeah,
which is going to be awesome. I mean, again, our thoughts and our prayers and condolences go out to his family. And man, just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
We've lost a lot of icons in this entire sports year.
Yep, we have.
We've lost a lot of icons.
Yes, we have.
I mean, from John Madden to Bill Russell to Mike Leach. Unbelievable.
Yep. And again, folks, you can follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and also smash that subscribe button on YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now on the show. And also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It is at the Nation's Corner. And catch the Nation's Corner this Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. For the wildest stories and all of the all the stuff that's going on in the world of professional wrestling and the WWE, AEW, Impact, and everywhere in between. Just absolutely crazy. Like it's been a great year, guys. Just sports, wrestling, all that stuff that's going on. Man, it's crazy how this year is just, it's almost over in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe.
I know. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, we were talking about how, in these playoff brackets and stuff, like, when you look at the teams that are still fighting for spots, I mean, you got Dallas and Cincinnati and Baltimore and all these different teams. Like this might be one of the most unbelievable parity years in the National Football League. I mean, any team at this point can win, because this has been one of those years where it has been the most wackiest of wacky of years for the NFL.
Yeah, it really has.
Just all the crazy games that's happened, all the crazy results that has happened. I mean, man, we're coming so close to the playoffs in January, and start of a new year, and just.
Seeing now that the NFL playoff format is increasing to 14 teams this year out of other than the usual 12, that's going to be even more exciting.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, any team can get into the playoffs now, because you would have to fight for that one extra team, to fight in, to get in. Yeah. But now that you had two more, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know. You never know what can happen. I mean, hell, for all we know, Seattle can still creep back in. Detroit can get in. Anybody's ball game this season. And it's also crazy how when you look at all the teams that are still vying for spots, usually we have about maybe 3, 4, 5 spots already clinched. We've only got one. That's the Philadelphia Eagles.
That is right.
And we shall see what happens this week in the National Football League as far as the schedule. And Ezra will be back with us next week on the show talking about Week 15 in the National Football League, and us talking about all the crazy action. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some crazy, wacky games and stuff for football this weekend, and also the NBA with the games are steadily going, and Luka Doncic having a hell of a season so far, and the Lakers are still the Lakers, baby. Sucking. Love it.
Well, I will say one thing. The weather may be getting colder outside, but if there's one thing that is really heating up right now, it is the free agency in Major League Baseball.
Yes, it is.
We have had a lot of amazing moves and amazing signings take place over this past week. For starters, Aaron Judge is going back to the Yankees on a 9-year, $360 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Kenley Jansen is going to Beantown, the Boston Red Sox, to be their closer on a 2-year, $32 million deal.
Wow.
The former catcher from the Chicago Cubs, Wilson Contreras, is going to a crosstown rival. He is going to the St. Louis Cardinals on a 5-year, $87.5 million contract. Let's see. The biggest deal that I've seen recently is the San Diego Padres in agreement on an 11-year, $280 million contract with shortstop Xander Bogaerts. So that is a huge deal. Brandon Nimmo is going back to the Mets on an 8-year, $162 million contract. Chris Bassett and the Toronto Blue Jays have agreed to a 3-year, $63 million contract. And the biggest news from my aspect, seeing as how I am an Atlanta Braves fan, there was a 3-way trade that took place yesterday, along with the Atlanta Braves, the Oakland Athletics, and the Milwaukee Brewers. But the biggest deals saw the Braves sending catcher Manny Pena to the Athletics, sending William Contreras to the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Athletics sending catcher Sean Murphy over to the Atlanta Braves. So free agency is really heating up, and I think it's only going to get any hotter because we still got some big hot shot names out there. So who knows what can happen over the next week or two.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen, especially during the free agency market. I mean, like all these crazy contracts in baseball and I was a little surprised, but not really, that Aaron Judge is staying with the Yankees. I mean, because all things considered, that he had a great year with the Yankees, becoming the American League all-time home run hitter, in season history. And the Yankees were going to do anything that they could to retain his services. But I was a little surprised that he didn't even try to test out the market. But good for him, that he got re-signed back with the Yankees. He's going to be there for a long, long time, and good for him. Good for him on that. And again, folks, we love doing this show every single week here on YouTube, on a Nation Sports Show on Tuesday nights. And we are looking forward to next Tuesday, talking about the world of sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever we decide to talk about, and covering the NFL's regular season winding down, the NBA, and bashing the Lakers and all of that good stuff. Whenever that happens, it's easy to roast the Lakers. What are we talking about? We don't even need to leave 6 minutes before the show's over to do that. Sorry, LeBron.
I will say, speaking from LeBron's perspective, we actually got a little blast from the past last night because 20 years ago, LeBron and Carmelo faced off against each other in high school, and last night, LeBron's son and Carmelo's son squared off in one-on-one action with their respective teams.
Nice. It all comes full circle, boys.
Yep.
Except for LeBron James's hairline. Now that doesn't come circle. That actually goes way back.
That hairline's just going to continue to recede.
Yeah, just like the Tom Brady deflates balls. Oh, did I say that?
It's disappearing faster than the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
The only main difference is the Lakers will get nowhere near the playoffs.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Don't say that.
14th in the West. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Well, or as Hawk would say, Road Warrior Hawk would say, well, boys, do you have any more thing to say? Let the cover on the show before we get the hell off the air.
I think I'm good.
Kev?
I mean, we could talk about the whole Brittany Griner situation, but I think that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kev, any last thoughts before we get off the air?
Yeah, the Lakers suck, Cowboys suck, and in your face. There. That's all I That just needed to be said. That was all.
Oh, yeah. I got one thing to say before our final thoughts, fellas. Bang, bang, Niner gang. That's right. Bang,
No,
bang, Niner
yours
gang.
is keep pounding, Steven.
No, bang, bang, Niner gang.
No. Stevens is keep pounding. Kevin's is bang, bang, Niner gang. And mine is take command.
I thought it was hell to the... Oh, never mind. Never mind. They changed that name.
Yep, they did. And with that being said, Joey, give us your final thoughts on the show, bro.
Amazing time coming on here with you guys. I hate we were missing a couple of folks tonight. Don't know what's going on with Randy, but Ezra, I hope you hope you start feeling better soon, bro. We're looking forward to having you back next week. And guys, just enjoy the football, enjoy the sports in general. And we are getting ever so closer to that wonderful, amazing holiday we call Christmas. So start making your plans now to spend time with family, friends, whoever you want to spend time with, because Christmas will be here before we know it. But looking forward to coming back on here next week to review Week 15 of the NFL, do some more NBA Laker bashing, and some more talk for MLB. But until then, peace out.
Kev?
Yeah, it was a good show with you guys. Hope everything's all right with Randy and hope Ezra starts feeling better. And yeah, it was good talking about the damn Cowgirls and the damn Lakers bashing, and hope to keep it doing next week. But next week, I will not be on the show. I've got to go to my daughter's Christmas program, which surprisingly is going to have more performers than the Dallas Cowboys, thank God. So this I'm watch the Cowboys game. So I will not be on the show next week. I'll send my scores in and hope like hell I don't get picked on for picking the goddamn Falcons beating the Saints. But
I'll tell you what, damn it, Kevin. You should have picked the Falcons. You should have decided to get more propane.
Just think, it's family, food, and football for the next couple of weeks. Hope everybody enjoys.
Exactly. And with that being said, we cannot wait to have Ezra back on next week. Join us for another episode of our Nation Sports Show. And Kev, have fun with your daughter, watching her have more performers than the Dallas Cowboys. And I can't wait to be on the show again with Ezra and Joey, and hope Randy's doing good. And again, folks, don't forget to follow us on social media on Twitter at ON_sports show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. Also, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. And also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner. Everywhere else on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, it is at the Nation's Corner. And catch Nation's Corner this Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, as Front Row and the rest of the gang, when Mongrovian Mike and everybody cover the world of professional wrestling from this past week, including Mission Pro Wrestling's final pay-per-view of 2022, Silver Barrels 2, with that great matchup between Simon Miller and JP Harlow, and that scumbag JP with that referee in his back pocket screwed Simon Miller out of the victory, and Genocide took on Janai Kai, and they kicked the living piss out of each other. It was a great match. In the end, Tombstone City, baby. Genocide retains the Mission Pro Wrestling Championship, and you can watch that on TitleMatchNetwork.com. And if you haven't watched Mission Pro already, check them out. It's a great company of women's wrestling. And again, the guys will be talking about this show and all of the happenings in AEW, WWE this Saturday on the Nation's Corner on YouTube.com. And with that being said, for Kevin Rory, for Joseph Thornton, I have been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand, and we will see you next Tuesday for another stupendous, super D-duper edition of our Nation Sports Show. Everybody, take care. Enjoy yourself for the rest of this week and the weekend. Enjoy the football with your family and friends or whatever you decide to do. Oh, yeah. Peace.